What's going on, you guys? Tyler, Wandering Therapist here today. I wanted to film this video today. It's actually a follow-up from a video that I filmed almost exactly a year ago from this day, from this very spot. And so I was just out hiking my dog and I happened to walk by this very spot again. And so I thought I'd stop and just kind of tell you guys some things that have happened a year later from the time that I posted my video about my daughter deer hunting. So you guys can go and watch the other video if you want to. I won't go through and tell the whole story in great detail, but in essence what happened a year ago is at this very spot right up on that mountain right there. There were some deer. I was deer hunting with my daughter, first time ever. She was 12 years old, and a little buck stepped out right up above us right there. And from this spot, we were about 350 yards away. My daughter could shoot out to about 425 really comfortably. I had her lying prone, waiting for this little buck to step out into the open patch. And while we were waiting right up the hill, some other hunters came right up above us, about 50 yards above us. We had been lying there for about 45 minutes in the wide open in bright orange. The other hunters had come down the hill. They saw us in the bright orange and they turned around and went right up above us and found the deer and ended up shooting the deer. And so I posted a video about what had happened afterwards. You guys can go watch that if you want to, but I had something really cool happen this year, just last weekend, 2 weeks in a row. The first week we had an elk hunt that we were hunting elk, and we found some elk, and we ended up getting in range to put a play on them again. And my daughter and one of my friends was able to sneak down to within 200 yards of the elk that we were hunting. There were 5 bulls that they were hunting. They were all in the same group together. And while we were putting the stock on those bulls, another hunter came up over the top of us again. But this time he talked to one of my friends and they swapped phone numbers. And this hunter said, "Hey, I don't want to get in you guys' way. You were here first. I'm just going to hold back to see what happens, and then we'll go on and hunt later." So he watched while we put the stock on these other elk, while Paisley and my friend McCall put the stock on these other elk. And they were getting ready to shoot, and this other hunter was actually right behind me. I was on a ridge back watching where the elk were. I didn't know he was there. This other hunter found a bull that was standing broadside, that he was able to put his sights on. And instead of pulling the trigger and blowing up the hunt for my daughter and my friend, he actually called. He had swapped cell phones with my other friend he had talked to. He called him and said, "Hey, here's my situation. I have a shot ready. Do you think I can take it?" And my other friend said, "Do whatever you want to, but it looks like we're about ready to take a shot too." So this man held off and didn't shoot. And then McCall, my friend, ended up taking an elk, and then it blew all the elk all over the mountainside again. And so there were a few other people that had opportunities to shoot, but it didn't play out. And the guy who had held up didn't get his shot. The bull that he was on actually stepped deeper into the trees, and they lost him and didn't find him. And so I was telling him afterwards, after we'd gone and taken care of the elk, I went up to him and told him what had happened last year. And I told him that I was grateful that the mountains were much more friendly with other like-minded hunters who place a premium on being a good neighbor to other sportsmen rather than being overly aggressive. He very easily probably could have taken that elk. I knew that it had to be hard for him to hold up. And I told him what a gift it was to me. And I have something called Godwinks, that it was a Godwink for me as a father to be able to go and tell my daughter what had happened, especially after what had happened a year before. And in the principles that I'm trying to teach her in terms of being a classy sportsman. So I told him that, and I said, "Hey, look, I'm coming back in a couple days. We still have some other tags to fill. If I see you up here, I'd be happy to try to help you fill your tag before we fill ours." And he said, "No, I probably won't be here. I've got to work, whatever." Well, we went up 2 days later, and on the way up in the dark, we were in a little bit better shape than this other hunter was, and we passed him. And we got up to the spot where the elk had been, and right when we sat down, we found a nice 5-point bull. And we waited. And we waited, and it was about 20-30 minutes later. I said, "Hey, this bull's not going to stay here forever. I know that other guy's coming up here." His name was Ben. So Ben, thank you to who you are too. Thank you for what you did for me. But finally I went running down the mountain, to find Ben, and I found him and came running back up. And while I had run down the mountain, another elk had stepped out even closer at about 200-300 yards away that my daughter Paisley could have filled her tag on. It was standing broadside too, and she held off. And eventually Ben walked up. I said, hey, there's a 5-point up here, there's a smaller one here now, and he just laid down and shot the smaller one. And then of course the mountain blew up again, and we didn't get our chance on our elk this time. So we actually helped him with his elk. We helped him pack it out all the way back to the truck. And while we were walking over to his elk, he turned to me and he said, I need to tell you something. He said, I'm young. I don't have a great job. I don't make a lot of money. I've been praying that I'd be able to get meat for my freezer this year. And I thought I lost my opportunity 2 days ago when you guys were in front of me there. And he said, I'm so grateful to you for your willingness to hold up this time and allow me to do this. And I'm going to be taking this home to a wife and a 4.5-month-old, pregnant wife. And I now have meat for my family for the year. And so we ended up becoming a Godwink for him too. And then while we were getting ready to pack his elk out, he asked if we were doing any other hunting this year, and we told him we had a deer tag. My daughter Paisley had a deer tag. And he gave up some of his information to us, and he said, I know where there's 3 bucks, 3 4-point bucks. And he told us where those bucks were, and we went hunting the next weekend, and I'll try to post a picture in this video, but we went straight to the spot that he gave us that information on. And on the second day, Paisley shot her first deer, and instead of a little 2-point like she would have filled right here, she ended up shooting a 4-point. And I consider that another Godwink. It was what I would call karma, and I just got to say how much better it is in the mountains when the mountains are full of friends instead of straight competitors. And we made a new friend. We got new information. We helped a friend. He helped us. And in the process, he reinforced some principles that I think are true that I'm trying to teach my daughter. So thank you to Ben. Thank you to God for the lessons that he wants to teach us if we have eyes to see them. Thank you to those people who made comments on the first video that were kind and like-minded. And I'd also like to say thank you to those who were not so kind in those comments. You do things differently. That's fine. You have other principles that you're living by. It's just not that I want to hunt with you or be with you in the mountains. And you can go teach your kids whatever you want. But at the end of the day, I feel really grateful and blessed for the way things have panned out for us, at least this year. And there's many more years to go, and hopefully many more years to go with a new friend in the mountains. So thank you guys. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you found this to be valuable for you, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you're facing particular struggles that you need help with or roadblocks that you're running into, please submit a question. I'd be happy to answer it for you.